Owen Schroyer here for Infowars.com, and I am in downtown Washington, D.C. As you can see, the Capitol building behind me, and there is a big event, at least being built up as a big event, happening here in D.C. tomorrow, and that is the Social Media Summit. Now, this is something that I think came in response really to a Project Veritas report of Google bragging about how they tried to manipulate elections and presidential elections, as well as other reports that have also showed by the data how Google can change elections and manipulate public opinion. So that video came out. The president had a website where you could go tell your story of the social media censorship that you've endured. They got so many replies and they had so much traffic on that website, they actually shut it down. I couldn't even get in there. By the time I found the time to go to the website and put my story in there, they had already closed the book on it. I imagine that they've been reviewing those cases as well. And of course, the president has seen how he has been shadow banned on Twitter. And we've seen Republicans in Congress shadow banned as well. This has been brought up in Senate hearings. This has been brought up in congressional hearings. Leading the way with some of that is Ted Cruz and, of course, Josh Hawley. Now, I will say that what I've learned here in D.C. is sometimes, and we've seen it, the congressmen and women maybe don't have the greatest grasp on what's going on social media, but they have young crews of people on their staff that have a much better idea of what's going on, that are trying to explain it to some of the older generation congressmen that don't really know much about social media. But even though we've seen and heard all of this, even though it's been outed by Project Veritas, what they do at YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Google, even though we have just thousands of reports documenting the bias at Twitter and YouTube and Facebook, and yet they're allowed to get away with all that. They're allowed to lie about it to Congress. Now, that's the trick here. You can have a debate about whether social media companies can censor or decide who's on their platform. It is not a debate, however, that you cannot lie to Congress about what you're doing like they did and committed perjury, saying there was no censorship even though we have them caught red-handed doing it. But I'd like an investigation to go down on the practices that these big tech giants engage in when it comes to data mining, taking personal information, what types of spying might be going on for personal reasons, for political reasons. So there's all kinds of issues that could be looked into when it comes to these social media giants, and they're beyond the debate about whether or not they can deplatform individuals or not. But that's not the issue that we're talking about. We're talking about censorship. So there's going to be a social media summit here in DC tomorrow. Of course, Infowars, ground zero for the censorship. Alex Jones, patient zero for the censorship. Doesn't even get an invite. But that's fine, we'll play the Dark Knight. We hope that there's other people there that will bring us up, bring Alex Jones up, bring some of the other band names like Gavin McGinnis and Milo Yiannopoulos and Laura Loomer up as well, and they won't be bullied by some of the conservatives that like to censor those voices as well at the summit. But we'll see. I have a feeling this is just going to be throwing a dog a bone, patting him on the head, and telling him to move on with his day. But hopefully, maybe this spurs some action from Congress, from the president, from the White House, to do something about the big tech censorship before the 2020 elections, when it's going to be so key. It was Infowars' presence on social media that helped get Trump into the White House. That's why we are targeted. So let's see what happens at the Social Media Summit 2019. For Infowars.com, this is Owen Schroyer.
I've thought for a long time about when does the, I'm sorry, I've been thinking, well, I said, truth is my only weapon. And I've been thinking for over a year about when is the time to be honest with the, I don't know how I said that, I'm being honest, it's just a weird question to ask. Let me put it this way. Hell, maybe you should just put it out while I'm sitting trying to figure this out. We're winning the info war, but we're losing financially. And that encourages the enemy. But if I don't tell folks how serious things are, they won't support us. Well, let me say it this way. InfoWars and free speech and your right to speech has been under unprecedented attack the last year or so. It's Orwellian, it's biblical, it's authoritarian, it's insane. And I keep trying to judge and gauge when is the right time to have to stumble up on deck as the captain of this operation and say, hey, we're sinking. I've begged for your support before, and thanks for keeping us afloat, but this is the real SOS. If you don't buy a bunch of products and spread the word and keep fighting, InfoWars will be shut down, not just crippled. And so we've reached that point. It'll make the enemy happy, but whatever. We have withstood so many of their attacks. We've gone through so much because of your support. You have been there. But let me tell you, they are pissed they haven't been successful, and they're giving us their full assault. So we need your prayers, your financial support, and your word of mouth now at InfoWarsStore.com. It's your fight. Decide whether or not you want InfoWars to continue, because we could be shut down.